MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell has long maintained that the United States Supreme Court is going to bail him out of all of his troubles, right? We have heard him say that repeatedly, as recently, remember, as a couple weeks ago, when he went to the Supreme Court and then he was going to go to the Supreme Court, but then he decided not to go to the Supreme Court, so he just had his lawyers deliver this new pack of evidence that would overturn the 2020 election results. In some of the other instances that Mike Lindell has talked about with all of this, the Supreme Court's going to rule 9-0 and overturn all of this. They're going to vindicate me. Well, this week, the United States Supreme Court sent a very clear message to Mike Lindell, and that message was, please leave us alone. Here's what happened. And for the record, this decision by the Supreme Court handed down against Mike Lindell this week was not about any of the lawsuits he has filed or any of his attempts to overturn the 2020 election. Well, kind of it was about that. Because as we all remember, a year and a half ago, Mike Lindell's in a drive-thru at a Hardee's in Minnesota. And as he's in the drive-thru, FBI agents come up to him. He's just trying to get his thick burger. And they're like, hey, we have a warrant. So sorry, hope your fries don't get cold, but we have to confiscate your electronic devices. So the FBI took his stuff as part of an ongoing criminal investigation into Tina Peters in Colorado, who Tina Peters has obviously worked very closely with Mike Lindell. And she had published, through her work in the voting offices, she had published information from the voting machines online, which is like super illegal. Allegedly, she did that. I will say she has not been convicted, so it's allegedly. So as part of the investigation, Lindell had his cell phone seized among some other devices. So year and a half later, after getting rejected by the lower courts time and time again, saying, no, your constitutional rights were not violated, law enforcement does have the authority to do this, the Supreme Court this week told Mike Lindell, we're not taking your case. We're not going to look at it. We're not going to do anything with it. The decision of the lower court stands. And, of course, the lower court's decision was, quote, Lindell's irritation as to where and how the government took possession of his cell phone does not give rise to a constitutional claim, let alone a showing of a callous disregard for his constitutional rights. Now, that is literally from the decision of the lower court that is now law of the land for Mike Lindell. Nothing he can do to get his cell phone back. But I love that they pointed out his irritation as to where and how the government took possession. So in his challenge, Mike Lindell legitimately argued well, it's not fair. They took it at Hardee's. Oh, okay. Well, then your constitutional rights were in fact violated. Everybody knows that Hardee's is what? A sanctuary? You can't be arrested if you're at a Hardee's. The police can't execute a search warrant if you're at a Hardee's. If they had done it on the street, if it was at the McDonald's, then yeah, my constitutional rights weren't violated. But because it was a Hardee's, I can't even wrap my head around this. Because what's so funny to me about it is that real life lawyers had to write this. Lindell himself didn't write it. So there were real life lawyers who had to file this challenge in the courts and well, because it was at Hardee's, that's amnesty, I guess. Who are these lawyers? I want to know who they are. I want to know their names. I want to know where they went to law school. I need more information about these people because this is the dumbest argument I have ever heard, which of course is why the United States Supreme Court decided we're not even going to touch it because that's how stupid this is.